For 20 years, the internet had a front door. You type a question, and Google will hand you a map, a list of 10 blue links, 10 possible destinations. It was up to you to do the exploring, to piece together the answer from the fragments you found. But that internet is disappearing. Now, search is becoming the destination itself. You ask a question, and you get one answer, a single synthesized block of text presented as facts. So, where does this answer come from? Who or what decides what's true? And what happens to the entire ecosystems of websites, businesses, and creators when they're no longer on the map? This isn't just an update, it's a fundamental rewiring of how information flows online. We're witnessing the birth of answer engine powered by large language models. And in this new world, a new currency is emerging, the AI citation. Being the source for the AI's answer is the number one ranking. In this video, we're going to deconstruct the technology that makes this possible. We'll dissect the new rules of being found online, a strategy called Generative Engine Optimization, and we'll reveal the economic shockwave that is already threatening the very foundation of the open web. This is the story of what happens when search engine stops searching and starts answering. To understand this revolution, we first have to understand the technological leap that made it possible. For years, search was a game of words. Search engines were like librarians who could only read the title of the books. They matched the keywords in your query to the keywords on the page and used signals like backlinks to guess which was the most popular. It was a system that could be gamed, but today's search engine are learning to read the content of the book. This is the semantic revolution, and it's powered by technology called the transformer architecture. At the heart of the transformer is a mechanism called self-attention. Instead of processing words one by one, it looks at the entire query at once, weighing the importance of every word in relation to all the others. It understands that in a phrase, how to fix a bike tire that won't hold air, the crucial concept is a puncture, even if the word never appears. It grabs nuances, context, and intent. This new understanding is stored in a fascinating way. Large language models, or LLMs, don't see words, they see relationships. They convert words and complex concepts into complex mathematical representations called vector embeddings. Think of it like a 3D map of meaning. A word like king isn't just a string of letters, it's a point in that space, and concepts that are semantically related like queen, prince, or monarchy are represented by points that are clustered nearby. Words like chainsaw are located far away. This is the magic trick. It allows the AI to think in concepts. It can compare the meaning of your query to the meaning of billions of documents, finding relevant information even when keyword doesn't match perfectly. This is the difference between search engine and an answer engine. But the process goes even deeper. Thanks to a series of revealing patterns from Google, we know that when you ask a question that AI doesn't just search for that one question, it performs a technique that analysts call the query fan-out. The LLM takes your initial query and uses it as a seed to generate dozens, sometimes hundreds of synthetic queries in real time. For example, a search for best family vacation spots in Italy might trigger the AI to simultaneously search for kid-friendly activities in Rome, safe beaches in and around Italy, other villas with pools in Italy. It anticipates your follow-up questions and related needs before you even think of them. The system then retrieves documents relevant to this entire cloud of queries, creating what the patent calls a temporary, hyper-relevant custom corpus of information. The final AI overview you see is not a summary of top 10 results of your original question. It's a complex synthesis stitched together from the best pieces of this much wider, richer collection of sources. This changes everything. The old SEO strategy of creating one page to target one keyword is now fundamentally obsolete. A website is no longer competing against a single query, It's competing for inclusion in a dynamically generated multi intent information cloud. A comprehensive resource that covers a topic from multiple angles is no longer just good content, structural necessity to be even considered by the AI. So, if the fundamental architecture of search has changed, the strategy to be visible within it must also change. The old world of search engine optimization, or SEO, was often about finding loopholes, stuffing keywords, buying low quality links, creating dozens of pages for minor variations of a phrase. These were the tricks to game a less sophisticated system. The new world requires a new playbook. It's called Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. And the goal is no longer just to rank, the goal is to become a trusted, citable, and verifiable source for AI. In a world where AI models can hallucinate, that is, confidently invent facts, search companies are desperately trying to ground their models in reality. Their primary defense is a framework Google has been developing for years, known as EEAT. It stands for expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, and it has become the non negotiable entry ticket for being cited by AI. But being trustworthy isn't enough. The AI also has to understand you. This is where the single most important technical element of GEO comes in: structured data, also known as schema markup. Think of it as a secret language for talking to machines. It's a vocabulary of tags you add to your website's code to explicitly label your content. You're not just writing $9.99, you're tagging it with products and offer schema so the AI knows with certainty that this is a price. You're not just writing a question and answer, you're wrapping it in FAQ page schema so the AI can identify it as distinct question and answer pair. This structured data is the fuel for advanced AI system. It feeds directly into Google's knowledge graph, helping it understand relationship between people, product, and concepts. And critically, it enables a process called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. This is the system AI Overview uses to pull live factual information from the web to ground their answers. A page with clean, precise schema allows the AI to perform the targeted retrieval of a specific fact, making it far more likely to be used as a source. Studies show that well-structured page can be up to 40% more likely to be cited by AI summary. It becomes clear that these two pillars, EEAT and schema, are not separate strategies, they are a symbiotic pair. EEAT establishes your credibility, answering the AI's question, something like, "Can I trust the source?" And schema provides legibility, answering the question, "Can I understand this information to be cited in the new world of search?" You must be both trusted and understood at the same time. This brings us to a new price at the heart of the entire system: the AI citation. An AI citation is a direct clickable link embedded within an AI generator answer pointing to the web page it used as a source. It can be a small icon, a link within the text, or a card in a carousel of sources. This is more than just a link. In a world with fewer clicks, it's a powerful endorsement. It is the AI, whether it's Google's Gemini or Microsoft's Copilot, explicitly telling the user, "This is where I learned the information from. This is a source you can trust." In the same way, an academic paper is worthless without its references, AI companies are trying to build credibility by citing their sources, however imperfectly. So, how does a source win this coveted citation? Again, Google's patents give us a look inside the black box. The process is a fascinating and slightly unnerving form of algorithmic verification. In many cases, the AI will generate a draft of its answers first. Based on its vast training data, it might generate a statement like, "The best way to fix a flat tire is with a patch kit." Then it goes on a verification mission. It converts its own statement into vector embeddings, the mathematical fingerprint of meaning we talked about earlier. This becomes the semantic target. The AI then scores its custom corpus of web documents, converting them into embeddings as well. It measures the semantic distance between its own statement and the content on these potential sources. A web page that talks directly about using a patch kit will be semantically very close. It passes the test and a citation is created, and a process the patent calls linkification. A page that talks about bike pumps might be moderately close, and a page about history of cycling will be semantically distant and will be discarded. The entire process is guided what researchers call chain of thought prompting, where models are trained not just to give an answer, but to generate the intermediate logical steps needed to reach its final output more reliable to us. But this system is far from perfect. The pressure to provide sources had led to a new and bizarre problem: hallucinated citations. AIs will sometimes invent sources that sound plausible but don't actually exist, or they'll correct cite a real article but completely misrepresent what it says. One academic study from that while ChatGPT's answer were at least partially correct over half the time, the citations it provided were only valid a mere 14% of the time. This is the AI's credibility gap. This also highlights the immense legal and ethical challenge of intrinsic source attribution. The ability to trace a piece of AI's generated knowledge back to the specific document in its original multi trillion word training data. It's a problem that touches on copyright, privacy, and intellectual property, and one that researchers are scrambling to solve. What becomes clear is that the generate then verify model of citation carries a hidden danger. The AI's first probabilistic guess acts as a powerful filter. It's predisposed to find and cite sources that confirm its own initial draft. This creates a risk of an algorithmic echo chamber where simplified mainstream ideas are constantly reinforced while nuanced, complex, or dissenting views are ignored simply because they are semantically distant from AI's first guess. Over time, this could subtly flatten the intellectual diversity of web, incentivizing creators to produce simple, declarative content that is easily verifiable by the machine. This massive architectural shift is not happening in a vacuum. It is creating an economic shockwave that is already crashing over the entire digital landscape. For publishers, content creators, and online businesses, the data is really alarming. Multiple industry studies paint a stark picture. An analysis by SEO platform Ahrefs found that when an AI overview appears, the click through rate for the number one traditional organic result plummets by nearly 35%. Another study saw an average decline of over 15%, with non branded informational queries being hit hardest, dropping nearly 20%. This is the rise of the zero click search. Data from similar web shows that since AI overviews launched, the number one the number of news related searches resulting in no click to a publisher website has jumped from 56% to 69%. People are still seeing the content, impression often remain high, but they are no longer clicking. The AI is answering the question, so there's no need to go any further. Here is the paradox. While the volume of traffic is falling off a cliff, the quality of the traffic that remains is skyrocketing. A study from another firm found that, on average, a visitor arriving from an AI search is 4.4 times more valuable, meaning more likely to convert, than a visitor from a traditional search. Ahrefs' internal data was even more dramatic. When they found their traffic from AI search converted 23 times better than their traditional organic traffic. How is this possible? It's because the AI is compressing the entire marketing funnel. It's doing the laborious middle of the funnel work from the users. It summarizes the options, compares features, and answers clarifying questions. So the user who finally decides to click on a citation is no longer just browsing or researching. They are pre qualified, high intent, and often ready to make a decision. Ahrefs saw this in their own analytics. 80% of their AI referral traffic went directly through their homepage, products page, and free tools, bypassing their famous educational blog content entirely. But this conversion paradox offers little comfort to the thousands of publishers whose business model depend on traffic volume, not just conversion quality. The entire ad supported web was built on a simple transaction. Publishers create content, search engines sends them traffic, and advertisers pay to reach that traffic. AI search breaks this model completely. If user gets their view answering without ever leaving Google, the ad impressions that publishers rely on to pay their writers, editors, and journalists simply will vanish. Are already seeing the consequences: more aggressive paywalls, struggling media outlets, and a web that feels increasingly hollowed out. This has led some to warn of a coming totalitarianism of search, a shift away from vibrant, chaotic, and decentralized web of many voices to a centralized information utility where a single algorithmic answer is presented as definitive, controlled by a handful of immensely powerful corporations. So, how do you adapt? How do you survive and thrive in this new landscape? It's not about finding new tricks to beat the algorithm, it's about fundamentally reorienting your strategy to become an indispensable source for the algorithm. Here is the framework for GEO era. First, become a citable entity, not just a ranked page. The AI is learning to think in terms of entities, people, organizations, and concepts, not just websites. Your goal is to establish your brand as an authoritative entity with Google's knowledge graph. Research shows that a brand's volume of web mention has a stronger correlation with its visibility in AI overviews than traditional backlinks do. This means focusing on digital PR, publishing original data that others have to cite, and getting your expertise coded in reputable publications. Own your brand story across the entire web. Second, create irretrievable and multimodal content. In a world of finite AI generated summaries, the most valuable content is that which AI cannot easily create itself. Focus on what Ahrefs calls information gain. This means publishing unique data from your own experiments. It means creating content based on genuine first hand experience, things you have personally done, tested, or witnessed. And it means investing in effortful content like complex data visualization, high quality video, and interactive tools that serve as primary source in their own right. Google's own patents reveal its systems are now multimodal, processing text, image, video all together. A rich visual piece of content will always have an edge over plain text. Third, optimize for answer snippets. Structure your content to be easily digestible and citable by a machine. Write clear, concise answers to specific questions. Use FAQ and how to schema markup everywhere it's appropriate to signal these answer snippets to AI. Analyze the answers AIs are already giving in your niche and create content that is more comprehensive, more expert backed, and more trustworthy. Fourth, embrace the compressed funnel. Accept that you'll likely get less traffic, but the traffic will be more valuable. Shift your focus from attractive high volume, top of the funnel clicks to converting the high intent visitors who arrive from an AI citation. Your top of the funnel content is no longer primarily for driving traffic. Its new job is to build the brand authority and earn mentions that establish your entity status, which in turn will earn your bottom of the funnel pages to citations that lead to higher conversions. The change we're living through is monumental. We are in the midst of a great restructuring of the digital world. For 2 decades, the web was a decentralized library of hyperlinked documents, and the search engine was the card catalog that helped us navigate it. Now, that model is being inverted. The AI is becoming a centralized information layer that sits on top of the web, synthesizing its content into Single, definitive answers. The search engine is no longer a map to the territory, it is becoming the territory itself. This new paradigm promises unprecedented efficiency, a world free from the tedious works of sifting through links, but it also raises a profound question. Are we entering an age of ultimate convenience or a new era of informational conformity, where our collective understanding of the world is shaped, filtered, and delivered by a single opaque algorithmic voice? The future of the open web and how we come to know what we know may depend entirely on the answer.